to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. It's me, Taco. It's a Sunday, and that means that I'm doing a tournament update. And this is my final tournament update before the end, probably, because it's only 1 week. So I see myself in a week talking about the ending. Why is it only 1 week? Because we made it to the playoffs. Dun, dun, dun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've been doing this Song of Ice and Fire tournament since March 1st. And yeah, this is my second huge one. It was 128 characters, and now we got it down to whatever it was, 16. And yeah, it's gonna be down to 8 by the end of, well, it's already down to 8, but it's gonna be down to 8 by the end of this video as well, and that's gonna be our playoffs. So we're getting to that. So this was our bracket finals update. So this is the end of all of our brackets finals. So our brackets were Rebels, Legends, Modern Legends, Monsters, Big Guys and Gals, Knights of Summer and Tourney, Soiled Knights and Killers, and then Random. He's so random. But yeah, so that's it. I'm pretty excited that we're getting this close to the end of the tourney. So if you don't know what's going on, that is, I already told you that. Go subscribe to my channel and vote in the polls every morning. All right. That was ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that. I'm tired, man. I got a bunch of videos to film after this, and I'm getting this done. I wanted this to go fast, but of course it's 3 minutes in and I'm just rambling. So I'm a rambler. Rebels. So this was Daemon Targaryen versus Robert Baratheon. And yeah, let's see the results. It was super close. There was only one Tucker this round, as far as my memory serves. I believe it was only one. And a lot of these were really close. And yeah, so let's get into it. Daemon Blackfire lost to Robert Baratheon, who beat him at 60% to 40%. Now I'm going to look over here at the other screen and read out some of the comments. Roebuck McKinley? Is that your name? Roebuck? Here, let's see if that's your full name. Clint Page, way off. All right. Clint Page said, oh, that's a tough one. Thanks. I actually voted for Bobo, but I'm definitely deeply conflicted. Oh, man, deeply, huh? Oof. Dames, not Danes. He went Dames. So just a group of women. Just changing the subject. I'm really conflicted. Now let's talk about some dames. Danes grew up in the red. Oh, Daemon. Dames. Daemon the Black Dames. Okay, I got it. Grew up in the Red Keep, probably trained by with Kingsguard Knights and other elite soldiers every day. Yeah, Clinton Ball. Clinton? Quentin. There you go. Quentin Fireball. Every day we know he was at a high level. He's walking in with Valyrian steel, and Robert never had to face somebody that good. Rhaegar was definitely not on Daemon's level. Completely agree. Keeping my vote as is, Bobo, but he's going to have his very best day out there. He is not coming home the same man after that fight. That's really cool. I'm glad there's nothing writing on this. It's insanely close. There's democracy writing on it. We're gonna find out who wins this year. Last year, Arthur Dayne won so good that I kicked him out of the tournament. And runner-up was Robert Baratheon, who made it all the way to the finals. So I didn't think he was gonna drop this early. I'm honestly, I feel like Daemon was the last chance for a minute until he goes up at Barristan, makes it to semifinals. I think that's going to be, if Robert drops, it's going to be in the semifinals of the whole tournament. Because I think he's winning right now. I got a match going right now. The first match of the playoffs is happening today, and it looks like he's doing okay. Flipper Fritz said, honestly, don't even know. Gotta go, Bobby. Yeah, a lot of people just were like, didn't know where to go with this one. Lazy Boy said, I know we all love Bobby B, but let's remember how badly Rhaegar wounded Bobby. This is a point that keeps getting brought up, and I highly like that as a point. It's a very good point. Wounded Robert at the Trident. Unlike Rhaegar, Daemon will have Blackfire. The Black Dragon would slay the Black Stag. Something you got to remember, Rhaegar was good, but he's not on the level, in my opinion, that anyone at this level of the tournament are at. And that's why right now he's going up against the other winner of Legends, who, screw it, if you guys are paying attention, you know who it is. Aemon the Dragon Knight, he's doing that fight right now. And people keep using that argument too, of like, he almost died to Rhaegar and Aemon's way better. That's such a good argument. And I can't really think of one against that. Is that Robert was this close to losing that fight. And I would consider Daemon Blackfire and Aemon the Dragon Knight much higher class of fighter than Rhaegar. And plus, both of them have Valyrian steel. So let's find a name for you here. No, you don't have one. 464528. Did I just accidentally activate a sleeper agent? Daemon is the only fighter who is compared to a god. To me, Daemon Blackfire is amongst the top four who, along with Arthur, Dane, Barristan, Selmy, and the Dragon Knight, I don't see Robert winning this. No one says this, but I said this last time. When we're talking about the hype for Daemon Blackfire, please keep in mind that that comes from Eustace Osgrey. And Eustace Osgrey was like in love with him. He had like a full-on man crush. And this was 20 years later, and he, just like how one would talk about a very strong political figure who was a leader of men, like Abraham Lincoln was the greatest politician of all time. Was he? Of all time? Of greater than any Roman or Greek? Like anyone who's ever been a politician? Okay, it's hyperbole, right? And yes, Abraham Lincoln, definitely up there, right? A really great president, in my opinion. But the point I'm trying to make is this is somebody who sacrificed his entire life for Daemon's cause. Of course, he is like, the guy was a god. He was the sun, or he's a warrior incarnate. That's not a textbook, dude. Like, that guy ain't, like, Eustace Osgrey ain't a historian. Like, he didn't study his fighting skills. You know, he believes the propaganda. And so when people do that, I want people to remember that. So then we got Shaded Bear. Did he get a different name? Oh yeah, Ben B. Ben Bailey? No, you're probably not Ben Bailey. You got a lot of likes on this. I think Robert has extra damage buff against Targaryens. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna lose the one. Not this game. Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, he got 16 thumbs up on that one. I think we're good. I'm gonna read. Oh, this one has a lot too. Efren T said if Rhaegar came at close and injured Robert at the Trident, yeah, it's fair to say Daemon would likely a better fighter would defeat him. Yeah, it's exactly what I was saying earlier. Since injuries received from Blackfire would have been more severe than the ones that Rhaegar gave him. Yeah, 100%. And then the Punisher just said, Robert won his rebellion. Simple as that. Throwing shade. So, yeah, Robert Baratheon moves on. So, yeah, let's keep going. We don't need to spend all day on these. I got so much other stuff to do. So, yeah, we're getting over to the Legends bracket, and that's going to be Aemon the Dragon Knight versus Cregan Stark. And since I already spoiled it earlier, Aemon does beat him pretty handedly, 76-24. And, yeah, Irish Potato Thief said, watching Cregan lose this watching Cregan lose this is the closest I'll get to re-experiencing the Red Wedding for the first time. Total heartbreak. I'm sorry, Irish Potato Thief. I didn't know that you're such a Cregan stan. Oh, man. HCLW said Cregan Stark is a feetless bum. I wasn't planning on reading this one. I don't like it that he calls him a bum here. I don't like calling anyone a bum, man. I don't like that as an insult at all. Cregan Stark is a feetless bum whose only act of a merit is when it comes close to combat is getting praise from Aemon the Dragonite. Aemon is giving Cregan that leather belt. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on from that one. I wasn't planning on reading that one out loud. I did. Efren T said, this is the fourth opponent with a Valyrian steel sword that Cregan has faced in this tournament. The first one was Nightfall in round 1, and that was Harris Harlaw. And then round 2 was Blackfire, and that was Aegon the Conqueror. And then round 3 was Dark Sister with Visenya, and now Dark Sister again with Aemon. And Aemon beat him this time. Cregan had a run. Can we really just all right, cool. Potato Thief, I'm sorry Cregan lost, but can we talk about the underdog run that Cregan had? I didn't think Cregan would make it this far. Not only did he do it, but Harris Harlaw, I think, is super underrated, super good. Aegon the Conqueror, holy crap. And then Visenya, these are not losers. And yeah, so just Cregan had a run. That's all I'm saying. Yep. And then, of course, I didn't bring it up, but a lot of people did. All we really know about Cregan is a quote from Aemon, and that's who he's going up against. So, Brandon, just Brandon. All right. Brandon, said Aemon said Cregan was the best fighter he's ever fought. Cregan was probably old and out of his prime. Then based on the timeline, yes, 100%. He was definitely the old man of the North at that point. Maybe a stretch, but I'm going to say prime Cregan would win that. I don't think that's a stretch at all. All right, let's keep going. I paused it so I could take a drink of my coffee. I figured you guys didn't want to hear me slurping again. Barristan Selmy versus Garland Tyrell. Garland Tyrell made it this far in the last tournament also. The finals of this tournament, or the playoffs of this tournament, are 8 matches, so 16 characters. But the finals of last tournament, it was 16 brackets, and it was 16 characters. Or 16 matches for the playoffs. So the playoffs were one extra round last year. Garland made it into that as well. So Garland did really good both tournaments in a row now. But of course, this is Barristan frickin' Selmy. So this is our only Tucker, I believe, of the day. So let's get that in.
You got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, Garland got knocked the fuck out. But I mean, it's Barristan Selmy. If you get a Tucker to Barristan, you made it this far in the tournament. You're doing pretty good. The fact there's a Tucker at all this far in the tournament's crazy. All right. Okay, so this is a cool take. Julia, great name, said Barristan old loses, prime wins. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that old doesn't lose just because Garland is also very skilled and he's got so much youth on him, but I wouldn't be surprised if old Barristan also beat him. But prime Barristan, it's not even close. So, the only way I think Garland would have a chance is if it's old Barry. E. Marty's said, this fight Selmy finally loses. This is the fight Selmy finally loses. All right, okay, let's go. Garland is a sleeper best fighter in all of Westeros. Wow. He is better than Loras, but has stayed away from tourneys. Like Dunk said, you don't want enemies to scout you. Selmy is great, but if he's book age, he's got to lose at some point. I mean, that's a take. And it's hard. It's really hard to say no. You know which win no one ever gives credit for? No one ever talks about it. Who was it? Guyard Morgan? I'm doing a short on Morgan, House Morgan, who is low-key a super cool house with really great fighters. But Morgan's Guyard the Green and the Rainbow Guard, and he defects to Stannis. Then he goes into the Battle of the Blackwater. And you know who kills him? Renly, dressed as or not Renly, sorry, Garland dressed as Renly. He loses to Renly's ghost. So it's like, hey, everyone's just like, oh, all we know about Garland is the fact that he trades with multiple people and they say he's better than Loras. I mean, he killed Gaiar Morgan, which I know it's Gaiar Morgan. It's not like, Maegor, but like, it's still, I think it's still a win. But that's me. Yeah. And then I forgot my name said, this is the way it should have been with Big Vic. Yeah, I think Victoria Greyjoy should have stomped Garland, but I only get one vote. Irish Potato Thief said, Garland would impress the man, the myth, the legend, but Garland is not one for the ages yet. Yeah. And yeah, somebody then commented and said, I agree. Bob Roberts said, a Tucker in a bracket finals. That's crazy. Probably won't be the only one. Yeah, that's true. And then Lazy Boy said, Garland doesn't deserve to be tuckered. The man casually fights 3 people at once. He'd give Selmy a hell of a fight. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that he deserved to be tuckered. I think it's crazy he got tuckered, though. That's it. All right, let's move on to the Monsters. And this is a fight for the ages. You got Gregor the Mountain Clegane versus Maegor the Cruel. And yeah, let's get into how that happened. It was super close for a while, but Maegor did end up taking this 54% to 46%. So he did climb that mountain, touch a mountain, climb a mountain. Hawk McBride said, an absolute slugging match. Yeah, this is a slugging match for one. And then Yanverb. Oh, it is just Yanverb with some type of a sorry. Here, let me get rid of that. Some type of a horse as a sigil or as a picture. People think too much of Maegor. We never hear of any impressive accomplishments apart from the trial of 7. And that is mostly luck based. You can have that take. I don't agree with that take. Yeah, Max B, I'm not going to read all of your comment just because it's as long as my arm and I don't have that time. But he replied going, you're trolling, right? And then he goes on to be like, we hear a bunch of stuff. What are you talking about? All right, moving on. Diaper Fang, great name, said the Maegor glaze of the Asoiaf of Fire Committee is pathetic. There is clear no diff for the mountain that rides. I think it's hilarious. And somebody goes, why are you so pressed? I mean, the Maegor glaze in this community is kind of a lot. All right, I'm not gonna call people who follow this tournament and also subscribe to my channel, who I'm very grateful that anybody does, pathetic. I think that's a little bit too much. I'm not gonna say the Maegor glaze is pathetic, but I mean, I was shocked the first time I made a video where I mentioned Maegor the Cruel and I was talking crap about Maegor the Cruel because I hate him. I don't really like monarchs in general, let alone tyrants. I really hate tyrants. But the love that he has in the community, if anything, it's kind of just funny at this point. But it surprised me the first time I heard it. So anyone who's talking crap about it, I got a point. All right, Irish Potato Thief said, when in doubt, pick the one reanimated by blood magic. Wait a second. If you believe that, what's it, Tina of the Towers? I get Tina of Mir and Tina of Lease mixed up. The Merryweather girl's name with the Towers with Maegor's third wife's name. I get their first names mixed up. But if you believe that her and or Visenya reanimated Maegor after the trial of 7, like a lot of people believe. And Marty again went with the mountain is bigger, Maegor is smarter, and he also has Blackfire. That will probably help. And I said, yeah, this isn't, wait, I don't know. Oh, yeah, he switched it. Okay, cool. He once said Maekar, but he added it and changed it. That's what, yeah. Okay. This is somebody I haven't read a comment from. Joe! Just Joe, huh? Joe Mama. That's what your long name is. But you got 4 likes, so let's hope when I read this, it's nothing I shouldn't have. Well, Maegor is more technically skilled. I see Maegor making the mistake of trying to match Gregor in strength, and that would be the death of him. Unlike Oberyn, who is Gregor's direct counter, right? Because he's like speed and agility, invasive, and someone Gregor's not able to use his size against, Maegor will go for him straight up. As we know with Oberyn, you gotta mess up just once, and it's your death. If they fought 10 times, Maegor would win 6 out of 10. So he still gives it to him, but he's saying it would be really close. This would be an amazing fight to see. I think of this as you got to remember the other person that we know of, at least in my opinion, beat the Mountain. And I think that's the Hound. And sure, it didn't go all rounds, but if you look at Game of Thrones, the first book, A Game of Thrones, it really does look like the Hound is being fine with the Mountain, and he only gave up because the Robert told him to. I don't know, man. I think that you have enough strength to withstand, like, oh, those strikes aren't completely killing me in one hit. If I'm able to at least block one of the Mountain's blows at all, if I could just survive it a little bit, I can use technique. But that's in my opinion. I think the Hound could beat him, and I think Maegor is equal, if not better, than the Hound. But people are like, oh, we never saw that fight. He never won that. That's just show canon. Yeah, probably. But it's my head canon too. What are we on now? I should have paused it to do that. It would have been a perfect time. So Maegor moves on. And now we're getting into big guys and gals. Sandoq the Shadow versus Duncan the Tall. Listen here. I'm mad at you guys. Come on. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. Hate you guys. I like this stupid brackets doing all work for you guys, and this is how you were paying me. That's how you were paying me. You don't know why I'm mad. Duncan beat him 52-80 or 48. Y'all suck. So I went back and looked at last tournament because I'm like, who beat Sandoq? Maegor beat Sandoq the Shadow by 2%. Same 52-48. So y'all suck. All right. That's all I got. So Max, starting off, Max said, surprised no one brought this up. But Sandoq's lack of armor puts him at a massive disadvantage. An advantage that full plate armor gives you is way bigger than the advantage you get from wielding Valyrian steel sword. I don't believe that we know that Sandoq doesn't wear armor just because the armor is not mentioned. I don't think that means that he doesn't. And it's like, yeah, but he's a pit fighter. He's a pit fighter who carries a shield. So that's already different. I guess Strombelos carried a pie pan. But Sandoq carries a gigantic wooden, leather, and iron shield. I don't think it's just safe to assume he's not wearing armor. And also, we know that he fights people with armor and survives. But I do appreciate that you went with advantage and not just one man have armor, one man win, like some other arguments I heard earlier this tournament. But yeah, I do think you have a point, Max. I just and thank you for commenting. I like you, Max. I do. But I don't know if we have the information to just straight up say that Sandoq's not wearing armor. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence, right? And then Stephen Garrosh. Yeah, Stephen Garrosh. Does Duncan get a Valyrian steel sword? No, probably not. I mean, unless he has one that we don't know about, but as of yet, no. And then sheep, duckling, cow, you. All right. Give Dunk a Valyrian steel curve longsword in this fight. Otherwise, no. Yeah, Dunk is also rocking Valyrian steel. That'd be so cool. And then Hawk McBride said, I saw that coming, but I'm still mad. Me too. Universe Finance said, nah, Sandoq was different. Not just regular, different. I love that. I think that people who want to know why my my love for Sandoq the Shadow is as great as it is, it's go back and listen towards the end of Fire and Blood Volume 1 and go back and listen to that fight on the bridge, right? That night on the bridge. Go back and actually re-listen to that if it's been a while. Because it's not that he just cuts through like a dozen people. I don't have the number in front of me. And one of them is a King's Guard. Yeah, they're just men at arms. It's not like the most impressive lot. It's the fact that he does it so effortlessly that it looks like he is doing nothing. And that's what's impressive. And it's not the feat. It's the fact that he didn't even need to try to do it. And he's fighting one guy. So he blocks, swings, kills a guy, looks, blocks this guy's boom, 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 kills a guy, two, boom. And it's like literally like he is on a completely different level. Plus, then you got size, then you got a giant curved Valyrian steel sword on top of that, and a huge axe or a huge shield too. So that's it. Just go back and see how it's written, of how it really doesn't seem like it's not even a walk in the park, it's a nap in the park to do it. And am I saying that Duncan can't do that? Kinda, yeah. I don't think Duncan could do that. Maybe Prime Duncan, that we don't know much. Like I've stated before, we don't really know how good Duncan is later on, so it's kind of really, we just know of his feats. We know that he beat Lionel Baratheon. We don't know if Lionel Baratheon beat the crap out of him and almost completely had him down, and Duncan just like slightly gets him and then gets him to talks him out of it and then gets him to give up. Or if he just bodies him. Like, there is context to these fights, and we just don't have those with Duncan. That doesn't mean that you can't vote for Duncan. I'm just saying we don't really know how great he is. And that gap gets fed in with Duncan love, which I get. I love Duncan too. Don't get me wrong. I just think Sandoq deserved to win last year. I do. I think he's better than Arthur Dayne. And am I a minority there? Yeah, clearly, because this is now the second tournament that he's lost in this round. In the whatever you call the one, the divisional round, right before the semifinals. He lost to Maegor last year, and now he lost to Duncan. And I want Maegor and or Duncan to win this year now, just so they're out of Sandoq's way. So hopefully Sandoq can win this year or next year. That's it. I'm not like losing it. So like the Punisher said, Taco's gonna be so mad when Sandoq loses. I very naively said he still has a chance. The pull is young. Nope, I was wrong. Patch Faith Paul said thick as a castle wall. Yeah, there's just we got a lot of comments on this one. Eman, let's see what your name is. Eman. All right, cool. Eman said, my money's on Sir Duncan the Tall, greatest knight in Westerosi history. And then this guy said, aha, but Sandoq isn't Westerosi. You got a point. Summer Isles, yo. FRNT said Sandoq is a winner and a survivor of the fighting pits of Marine for 18 days on a drawing bridge of Maegor's Holdfast he protected. Yeah, but he only fought once. Aegon the Third against Guardsmen and King's Guards. It's just King's Guard, I believe. Yeah. And not to mention he wields, that great curved Valyrian steel sword. Yeah. Duncan's a great fighter, but most favorite accolade was defeating Lionel Baratheon when both of them were past their prime. Great match. Sandoq the Shadow should win. I agree, FRNT, but he didn't. And then, a lot of people just said Duck the Longer, think it's against the wall. Dunk is too thick to lose, is what Big Buddy said. And then goes on to say a lot of stuff I didn't know, but since I already started reading Big Buddy, I'll read them and then we're done. Dunk is too thick to lose, but seriously, let's look at feat. Sandoq is best feat is holding his position on a bridge, killing guards and wounds Kingsguard Knight. Sir Dunk's best feat is beating Lionel Baratheon in a duel to put an end to the end of 2A rebellion. The way I see it, you can either respect the numbers of the bodies Sandoq stacked against Mooks on his bridge for defense, or respect Duncan's ability to beat a higher renowned. Yeah. You're going quality over quantity is what you're stating right now. Which one? And you're saying you're giving your vote to Sir Duncan because he knew how hard those brick house Baratheons are to beat. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of it. And so it was exactly what I just said, but you went the other way, and that's fine, big buddy. You're my buddy, big buddy. But you said we got to look quality over quantity. And I just did that in that speech I just had, where I went not only the quantity of people he fought, but the quality of his fight, like how it was so effortless. And we don't know the quality of the fight that Lionel went, but we do, or not Lionel. Well, yeah, but that Duncan did over to Lionel. But we do know that Lionel is a good fighter. So it's a higher quality of fighter and then a quantity of lesser fighters. Who do you want to give it to? And you are going with Dunk. And I'm going with Sandoq because of the method that Sandoq does and how easily, how it's almost like child's play. Like you just beating up. I can't say that. I was in an age. I'm not just going to throw that out there. Beating up small humans, just a bunch of them. Anyways, moving on. Good job, Sir Duncan. You better win this. Knocking out my boy. I like it. You better. Dude, if you lose right away, I'm going to be a little bit. Still going to be a little upset. Man. All right, cool. Let's get to a different match. So, yeah. Good job, Sir Duncan. All right, let's get into our Knights of Summers and Tourneys. And this was our first book rematch. And yeah, it did go the same, but it wasn't a Tucker, which is a surprise. So Loras 85% to Robar Royce's 15. The Punisher said, I'm not gonna actually read what the Punisher said. You're funny though. I forgot my name said his can I read any of these? His boy toy wasn't just killed, so maybe this fight will last longer than a minute in the two longer than the original. Yep. So let's talk about the original fight. Loras finds out that Renly is dead, and he goes into a rage and murders Emmon Coy, I believe, and Robar Royce. That's not a fight. I don't think that's a fight. We don't hear about how it goes. We don't even know if Robar got his sword out. We really don't know if it's just he died on our watch and he's like really cool in a rage. Like we don't actually know how this fight went. Just keep that in mind. Like that's why I wasn't super mad about this book rematch. I tried to get out of it, but it didn't work. I wanted to see how this would go, and a lot more people voted Robar, which I'm really happy about. E. Marty said, I'll take Robar on the rematch. He doesn't want to fight Loras. It may have been a one-sided duel. Yeah, I think it absolutely was a one-sided duel. Sorry, this is a really long one, but let me get the right name. Funness said, probably not as close as it seems. At least it's a fight on foot. Loras is certainly a prodigy when it comes to jousting and overall horsemanship. Beating Robar at the hands tourney and even being capable of defeating Jaime. Jousting. At the end, Robar even dies by the hands of Loras, but that's certainly not a definitive answer. It seems to be. As Loras fell into a red rage, slaying both Robar and Emmon Coy. Cool, I was right. Both being at least capable enough to be King's Rainbow Guard. They most likely didn't fall in a 2v1, but in a sudden, violent, desperate attack before even getting able to draw their swords. That's what I'm speculating as well. Loras even talks about the other men being better sword, like his brother Garland. He would likely be the victor. I completely... Funnest, have you commented before? I missed it. I 100% agree with what you had to say there. Yeah. And yeah, pretty much that kind of is what everyone was saying. But yeah, didn't go that way. Didn't go that way. So let's keep going to the Soiled Knights and Killers. And that's going to be Crispy Cole versus Sandoq. Clegane. Sandoq. Wow. That's how much I miss Sandoq. Sandor the Hound. So yeah, let's get into it. Sandor beat him 77-23. Wow. I was surprised by how that went. Max B said, I'm not so... Criston Cole should take this. It's not often in a hypothetical matchup that one of the combatants has actually defeated someone very similar to their opponent during their lifetime. Also, I'm generally perplexed how Robert gets so much hype for using a blunted weapon, and yet no one brings up the same energy when it comes to other knights who use blunted weapons like Cole. So I answered that because I just wanted to throw out my 2 points. I'm not sure, but if I were to guess, it's the size of the person. Cole's never described as being a big dude, but he has a devastating blunt weapon. Robert is described as being a huge guy with a devastating blunt weapon, a spiked hammer. So I think it's the size of the guy that makes a difference here in fans' eyes, and I stick to that. Thank you for commenting, Max. When it comes to the hypothetical matchup, I think what you're referring to is Harwin Strong, who was also a big dude, just like the Hound. I think the skill difference between Sandor, the Hound, and Harwin Breakbone Strong is astronomical. I don't think Harwin could fucking polish the boots of Sandoq. I keep saying Sandoq. Of the Hound. I think the Hound is so good because he's not only big, but he is skilled. He is really good at what he does. He wins multiple, not only melees, but jousts. He is a skilled, he does really well in tourneys. He's a tourney knight who is not afraid to be a violent killer. That's what makes, and he's huge. That's what makes the Hound so good, in my eyes. Sir Crispin wasn't, is what his finest said. Rebel Lord Terran said Sir Fiston Pole always loses, even if he somehow manages to win. Baylor Blake Spears said, no, this is the type of bias I can get behind. Arlen said Cole takes this, and then 4, 6, 4, 5, 2, 8. I just unlocked some of these Tesla there. I'm going with Cole. He's pretty much undefeated in one-on-ones during his lifetime. Yeah. And then Baylor Blake Spears said, everybody is until they 8. And yeah. I'm going to keep going. It looks like some huge back and forth happened that I'm not going to read. And here, this is somebody I've never read. The Deadly Knight said, knightly captains and master at arms tend to be the best swordsmen. Is that true? The Kingsmaker did both. Sir Criston traditionally fought with a flail / morning star. Cole could even kill Harwin Breakbone Strong, a comparable knight. Yeah, this is again going with comparable knight of saying the Hound and Harwin are comparable, which I don't agree. I forgot my name. I'm not going to read all of it. Jumps right in and just said, like, in strength and size, yes, but not in skill. Yeah, I'm not going to read all their back and forth. There was a lot. But yeah, all right, cool. That's the Hound beat Criston Cole, and now all we have left is this one, random. So this was another book rematch, and it was at Maekar the Anvil Targaryen versus Baelor Breakspear Targaryen, the hammer, if you will. Hammer. And Yeah, let's get into the comments. 55 for Maekar, which wasn't a surprise. 45 for Baelor. Now, if the circumstances of Loras in Robar were sus in the books, the circumstances of Baelor and Maekar are beyond that, right? They weren't trying to kill each other. Maekar does it, as far as we know, either accidentally or because he's being warned. It in no way was a one-on-one fight. Like, it wasn't a fight to the death. It wasn't. It was an accident, as far as we know. So, like, it's very hard to, like, this rematch. I think I'm glad it went the way it did, and I think if anything, it would have been really cool if Baelor won it. E. Marty said maybe if they weren't brothers, Baelor wins. That Maekar has a lot of issues, and he makes them his brother's problems. Obviously, Baelor is what. Let's get you a name here. Shevathan. Shevathan. That's funny. All right. Yeah, just said obviously Baelor. And Coronite Rivers said I think at this point it's obvious Maekar is the greatest knight ever to live in the Seven Kingdoms. Boyong said the anvil beats the hammer. The Punisher said it's crazy. It's crazy that Maekar is losing. Oh, yeah, I think that was only for a little bit. I know Baelor was going easy on his little bro, but let's not forget that fighting Lionel Baratheon at the same time was Baelor. Same time as fighting Baelor isn't even close to Baelor. Might have been the best knight in the realms, but Maekar is the effing anvil. Yeah. There we go. I want to call it. I went longer than I wanted to. I thought we were only going to talk for like 30-ish minutes. So there you guys go. It's Maekar versus Baelor. So Maekar wins, goes forward. Here, I'll read one more. I feel bad. I'll read two more. Let's read one from somebody who I used to know. No, somebody who I don't know. Andrew Wavington said Baelor's the greater warrior. Maekar accidentally killed him due to carelessness, maybe, and a bit of jealousy, while Baelor would never do that. Baelor was a rival to Daemon, who was known for being the greatest warrior of his time. Yeah, that's very, very true. And then Rebel Lord Terrence said, Maekar wins. He seems like he would be a little bit more hardcore when it comes to combat. Breakspear had a good heart and was loved by the people, sure, but I feel like he would not have been brutal enough to kill his own brother. I feel like he would have a problem with that. I believe that it would be his end. Yeah, all right. That's good. There, I'm glad I read a couple more. So let's look at the playoffs. They started today, so they're already going, and that's going to be Robert Baratheon versus Daemon the Dragon Knight, which I'm pretty sure right now Robert's winning. Excuse me. Barristan Selmy versus Maegor the Cruel. Holy crap, that's a good fight. Duncan the Tall versus Loras Tyrell. If anyone doesn't belong in here, it's Duncan the Tall. I'm kidding. It's Loras Tyrell. And then the Hound versus Maekar Targaryen. Now these are some playoffs I can feel proud about. I have a lot of regrets about this bracket. And I should have spent more time on it, even though I pretty much spent a year on it. But it was on and off, and March kind of snuck up on me, and I should have tweaked it a lot more. And I'm going to this next one. But I don't have any regrets about these playoffs, except for maybe no Jamie. But I think they're fantastic, and I think it could go to anybody on here except for maybe Loras. I don't think has a chance. And then I would be really surprised if it goes to the Hound, or in Maekar. Pretty much Duncan the Tall is who is going to make it to the finals on the one side, but anybody can be in the finals on the other side. Maybe even the Dragon Knight. He's probably the least likely, but he's got a big chance. So yeah, we'll see. I'm really excited for the playoffs. It's going to be all week. So hopefully this time next week, I will be talking about the finals, and maybe I'll do it live. Maybe. Should I? All right. I will possibly, if I have the time. If I don't, I won't. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. Click like, subscribe. We got one more week getting through the playoffs. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody who commented. Even if I don't agree, I love that you comment, and I love that you keep this tournament alive. So, yeah. Peace.